Welcome to the Texas Rundown. I'm your host, Danson, and we're coming to you from a very windy Dallas night. Over here we have JP representing Houston, and we have to my left Ish, which, JP, do you know where Ish is?
I have no idea. Hey, what's going on, Ish?
There he is.
What's
Where have you been?
Guys? I've just been, I'm just going to start this off. We need to start the hashtag Free Harden movement. The Houston Rockets are an utter dumpster fire and need to blow everything up. To your dismay, I'm sorry to say it, you can quote me on this, JP. James Harden will never win a championship in Houston. And if he continues along this path, he's going to turn into the next Charles Barkley and be forgotten by everybody.
Well, thank you for that, Ish. JP, do you have any kind of comeback for that?
Well, there's a lot to unpack here with all the recent developments of my Houston Rockets. Unfortunately, we have the cheapest owner in sports, wannabe Mark Cuban, aka Tilman Fertitta, and unfortunately, this man would do anything it takes to save money instead of actually pay to have a roster that can compete for a championship. This man would dim the lights at Toyota Center tomorrow if it meant he could save a dime tonight. And what's sad when you look at this team had the Warriors down 3-2. We know Chris Paul's hamstring, all that stuff. Unfortunately, Tilman was not willing to pay the luxury tax like most championship owners do to provide a championship and winning roster, which handicapped us last season. Chris Paul had a down year. We traded him for Russell Westbrook. And this leads to my next topic. And I would say Tilman Fertitta deserves 80% of the blame for everything that's going on in Houston right now. If we had a real owner that was willing to spend money, we could compete with the Golden State Warriors and your Lakers of the world. Unfortunately, this team did spoil Harden a bit too. I mean, D'Antoni and Daryl Morey, our beloved GM and beloved coach, who we no longer have, who left town, unfortunately let Harden do whatever he wanted, and Harden had the power to trade CP3, get Russell Westbrook into town, a move that Morey didn't want to make, but we made for Harden, and we made these concessions, and now Harden apparently wants out. And my view on Harden wanting out, I'm okay with Harden leaving. It's terrible. But at the end of the day, you do sign a contract. And my thing is, you abide by the rules of that contract. We still have Harden under contract for multiple years.
Welcome back, Ish.
So we're in no rush to move James Harden. If we can get a blue chip prospect like a Ben Simmons and a haul of draft picks, I mean, hey, Drew Holiday just went for 3 first-round draft picks the other night. So if we can get a huge haul of draft picks and Ben Simmons for Harden, if Harden really wants out, I would maybe entertain a deal like that, but we have no urgency at all. So, I mean, the ball's in the court of your Nets, your 76ers of the world. The clock's ticking for their championship window. Ours is unfortunately closed, what we have right now. We can see if we can try and move Russ. We made a couple moves in the draft tonight. We unlocked a traded player exception. So it looks like we're trying to run things back with some disgruntled superstars and ownership that doesn't like the superstars and a new GM and a new coach and everything like that.
Superstars.
Yep.
Really? Is that the take you're gonna take? You look into the camera and tell Houston Rocket fans that's what this is. Harden has no reason to be upset. He's gotten everything he's wanted except one thing. He doesn't have rings. And why is that? Look, 80% of the blame should more than go to Tilman Fertitta. But at this moment, when we want to try to blame Harden for the loss of the head coach that gave him some of his highest career stats and usage, Mike D'Antoni, and then the loss of a very key and pivotal front office personnel such as Daryl Morey, and then go, hey, why does Harden want to leave? Are you kidding me, JP? That's absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, sure, you catered to him, but that was your choice to do so, knowing that this could be a repercussion, and then wonder why he wants to leave. He wants to win a championship. He's never hidden that fact at all. And like I said from the beginning, if he doesn't, he knows he will go down as the next Charles Barkley. And I guarantee you, he doesn't have the charisma to join the Inside the NBA team on TNT and win some Emmys to make up for the hole he feels in his heart from not having championship rings.
So I want to double click on something real quick. You're talking about you would be happy with a trade for Ben Simmons and a couple draft picks.
If we trade him at all,
How
we
are
have
you
no
going
problem.
to get rid of a guy who has made his name with the 3-ball, and then you're going to get a guy who literally can't shoot the 3-ball? The team's built around Harden right now. I mean, it's a fast-paced team that they're shooting up shots, they're playing defense. That's about all they're doing. They had 15 missed threes in the Lakers series. Like, they're just they're a 3-point shooting team. So I just wanted to double click on the Ben Simmons take real quick. If you would be happy with the Ben Simmons take, how is that going to change the future of the Houston Rockets right there?
Oh, I mean, we have a new coach, a semi-new identity. It's going to be a lot less of like someone dribbles the air out of the ball and a bunch of people stand around and watch them play basketball with Harden. With Ben Simmons, you would start over and you'd surround Ben Simmons obviously with a bunch of shooters, sort of like you do kind of with Harden. The thing is with Ben Simmons too.
You got to have a big man.
You have a defensive identity.
Who can't shoot a 3-ball.
Oh, I mean, you'd be moving Russell Westbrook too. The Russell Westbrook would be out the door too. Oh, I mean, we're not going to have a Ben Simmons Russell Westbrook backcourt. If you're moving Harden, you're blowing everything up, and Russell Westbrook's going out the window too.
That's going to be another topic I'm supposing later down the line, but nobody wants
Yeah,
that
we'll get
ball.
to that.
But, I mean, getting to the Harden trades, right? Like, who are the top guys that want him? Brooklyn, Philly, and, you know, I'll throw in Miami just to humor
I mean, he would be a good fit, but it's not like we're not going to give up a Bam. We're not going to give up a Tyler Hero. We're not going to.
Yeah, so we're not going to trade him for
Butler
spare
is
parts.
absolutely untouchable. Bam's untouchable. Tyler Hero's untouchable. So it would just be for draft picks. And Houston's not going to take just draft picks because.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, the draft picks aren't going to be good. You're a good team, so I mean, they're going to be mid to late first round picks. So it's like there's really not that much there. I mean, Brooklyn, some other places, like with Brooklyn, we would want a third team to come in there. Like Brooklyn, I'm sorry, I'm not trading a top 5 NBA player for Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, and a couple of other spare parts and some draft picks.
You don't want Karis LeVert for James Harden? Come on,
I know
it's
it's
a steal of the
crazy
century.
crazy concept, man.
So you're telling me, JP, that you don't want Karis LeVert or Spencer Dinwiddie for James Harden? What a steal of the century!
I mean, honestly, bro, I only really wanted if DeAndre Jordan's included. So.
Oh,
Hey,
my
I need
God,
to put
that's
this part
amazing.
in here though. Spencer Dinwiddie was a first-team All-American in college.
Oh my God!
He went to the Nets.
Are we really?
His last 2
defending
years, he
Spencer
averaged
Dinwiddie right now?
16.8 points a game and 20.6 points a game.
His last name is Dinwiddie. Can we stop?
And shot over 30% from the three-point line. So, I mean, the guy could be a pretty solid complement to a Harden.
And here's my
Dirk doesn't approve. He's saying no. This is not an argument.
My thing is here, you look, none of these are young. I mean, all these guys are over the age of 25. Like, Ben Simmons is 24 years old. So, Ben Simmons has a lot to grow.
Right?
He's already first-team All-NBA. He's an all-star. He can do everything. Obviously, we need him to be able to shoot the ball more, but he can literally do everything else. So he's basically a LeBron light, which I'll take a LeBron light in today's NBA that's 24 years old.
Did you just
so he has
call
a lot more.
Ben Simmons LeBron light?
Absolutely, yeah, he is. Like he can defend. He can defend better than LeBron. Actually, he can defend the 1 through the 5.
I would say his style, like his vision.
Playmaking. He's a 6'10".
Did we just transform
his
to?
vision.
He's a 6'10". He's a
knowledge
6'10"
of the
point
game.
guard who's basically sort of a Magic LeBron hybrid. He can't shoot, obviously.
Okay,
I think what JP's trying to say is his
knowledge.
knowledge of the game is to that, like, on the caliber of some of the best that have ever played.
But he's Michael Jordan compared to Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert.
Hey, don't hate on Spencer Dinwiddie, man.
Wait,
I just
are we
I just
still
read you off on
these
how good-
comparisons are completely
But here's the thing,
absurd.
Tillman's so stubborn that I don't think he would even give James Harden to Daryl Morey, and he would make a lesser deal just to spite Daryl Morey because that's how much of a petty bitch Tilman Fertitta is.
So that's one area I think I'll actually agree with my counterpart on. Tilman Fertitta is so petty. He would not make a deal with Daryl Morey, and that's the main reason why Philly cannot be a landing destination for Tilman to get showed up by Morey. Absolutely never going to happen. And I think we both ruled out Brooklyn with no assets to trade because they're not getting rid
They
of
would need a
KD.
third team. If they
They're
got a
not
third team
getting rid of
involved, we
Kyrie.
can talk. If there's a third team involved to give some real assets that we'd want. I mean, I would take
And that
on some of those
happens a lot.
contracts as long as we got some, I don't know, a shitty lottery team that could throw in some draft picks on top of what Brooklyn has to make everybody happy. I would be down to consider that if James Harden truly does want out. But my thing is, there's no rush for us. And with James Harden, you're a playoff team.
Let's talk about this real quick. If James Harden does want out, I'm all about player empowerment. I'm all about supporting the player. But at the end of the day, I think this is one of our core tenets. We saw it with Scottie Pippen back in the 90s. Harden has no leverage. I didn't come up here and say Harden is leaving the Houston Rockets. I said let Harden go. I asked. It was
Did
a
he
request.
just say Harden has no leverage? I think Harden owns the Houston Rockets at this point.
What are you talking about?
He's the one that got CP3 traded for Westbrook.
He has 2 years
He's the one
left.
who's
He has
made this team. This has been Harden's team.
He has made decisions, but he has 2 years left on his contract. And management has already said they're more than willing to have unhappy superstars on their team and force them to write out their contract, much like Scottie Pippen did in the 90s. So at the end of the day, I say free Harden. Let him go. Wait for the right trading position. But at the end of the day, Harden does not have mobility to leave the Houston Rockets. Do or die.
If he had a year
he's
left, he
gonna
could pull an
be
Anthony
with
Davis,
Houston
but he has,
for the next 2 years.
He has multiple years, so he can't pull a full Anthony Davis where he wants out. There's a year left. Like he has 2 years left on his contract. The thing is, we can sit here and wait. The offers are only going to get better for Harden. Let's say the season starts 20 games in. Let's say Brooklyn, maybe they're 2 or 3 games above 500. Maybe Philly's a game or 2 below 500, something like that. Urgency will kick in. This is a league, a win-now league. So they will bring out the Brinks truck in every stop possible to try and get James Harden. So the value of James Harden's always going to stay at the level it's at. It's only going to get more and increase more as the season goes on because these teams
and also
it's at Houston's willingness. It's not at Harden's willingness. We can openly both agree that just because James Harden wants to go to Brooklyn doesn't mean he's going to Brooklyn.
Or we have to give him to Brooklyn.
If we learned anything from San Antonio and Kawhi Leonard and his horrific laugh, it's that, hey, you want to go to sunny LA? We'll send you to cold-ass Toronto. At the end of the day, these executives are petty, and they'll do anything if it means getting back at another person. That's why he's not going to Philly. That's why Brooklyn isn't feasible at the moment. Maybe it will be later on. Miami, I'm sorry, bud.
There's just not. I mean,
No, it's just not.
You would just have to give up way too much. He would be a great fit, but you would have to give up too much. But you just compare James Harden to Scottie Pippen contract-wise.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. They're both multiple-time all-stars.
Was making $10 million a year. James Harden has a 4-year contract for $171 million.
Yeah, at the end of the day, a contract is a contract. You know, JP's going to defend. Finish out your contract, this and that. But at the end of the day,
are you not more likely to stay for $170 million versus $10 million?
It's not about that.
He's getting paid
Harden has
wherever he's at.
already openly said from his camp he's unhappy and he would like to go to Brooklyn. We're not debating more likely or not. We're debating if he can leave, if he can force a trade. At this point, he doesn't have leverage to force a trade. Now, if you want to talk Russell Westbrook, we can talk Russell Westbrook, but that's even unlikely too. But let's also not talk like Tilman didn't have a hand in this. He got rid of their GM, as I mentioned before. He got rid of their head coach, and now everybody wants to go, oh, this is the bed that Harden made. He should lay in it. It's not entirely his bed.
That's what I'm saying. It's not an 80-20 split. I mean,
I'm not confused why he wants to leave.
We're in a bad position today because he wanted to get his buddy Russell Westbrook. And CP3 did look pretty washed in his second season with the Rockets. And it was a trade. It was a risky one. But, I mean, we gave up 2 first-round picks to Oklahoma City to bring Russ in. And then Harden immediately wants out when things didn't work out the way he wanted it to. So I'm like, he did cripple the franchise a little bit in his stubbornness and not wanting to play with Chris Paul. And now we brought in Russ, and the exact same thing happened where we brought in the guy. CP3 had injury problems with us. Russell Westbrook had injury problems with us, but he was injured. He had coronavirus, so he had problems. But he played very well the whole season.
Russ. I mean, it's funny how you can make the comparisons between Chris Paul and Russ.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, historically, it is shown that whoever his second player that they bring in, they're not great, right? Chris Paul let himself go. Me and you openly joke about how he took being in Oklahoma City as a second chance to actually get serious. And guess what? Now he's doing very well. He just recently got traded to the Phoenix Suns. And honestly, I think that's a pretty good contender for a championship.
A sleeper. I wouldn't say contender, but they're definitely a playoff team for sure. They can be
They're going to be around where the Mavericks are right now.
They can be a 5 to 8
They're going to be around where the Mavericks are right now.
I think the Mavericks will be a little better.
If the Mavericks don't make another play, they'll be about where the Mavericks were this year.
All right.
So to wrap this segment up, I just want to ask you guys, Harden did just turn down that $103 million extension a couple days ago.
Yeah.
What are the odds you think that Harden actually forces himself out of Houston?
I think he will start day one on the Rockets. I think by the All-Star break, I think they will have gotten the big haul they wanted for him, and he'll be out of town.
What define force, right? Like, what do you mean? Like, force, front office to trade him, or he waits out?
We've seen it before. Players have held out.
But, I mean, he's gonna play it out in the NBA. Everyone plays it out. I mean, he'll pull a Paul George or an Anthony Davis where he makes it very publicly known that he doesn't want to be there, and then everyone else will keep offering bigger and bigger offers, and then eventually Tilman and the gang and Stone, the new GM, will basically say, well, he doesn't want to be here. Then he'll have a year left on his contract. Let's get the most we can for him because he won't be an expiring contract. He's still a top 5 NBA player, always an MVP candidate. So you get the biggest haul you can before the All-Star break, and that would be it.